Hi there. Get ready for a heart-pumping ride as we recap No One Lives, the 2012 horror thriller directed by Ryuhei Kitamura. Follow the story of a group of criminals who kidnap a wealthy couple, only to discover that their victims are not as helpless as they seem. Starring Luke Evans and Adelaide Clemens, this movie is filled with shocking twists and gory violence. Join us as we enter the dark and twisted world of No One Lives. The movie opens with a young woman named Emma Ward running frantically through a dark forest, screaming for her life. Despite her efforts to escape, she steps on broken glass, causing excruciating pain. Undeterred, Emma removes the shards and continues running until she falls into a trap and is suspended in the air. She screams for help and uses a shard to right Emma alive on a nearby tree before the scene cuts away, leaving her fate unknown. The scene changes to a couple, Betty and a man known as Driver, driving down a road on a cross-country journey. Betty is upset about their impending move to a new town and blames Driver, who attempts to console her. As night approaches, the couple decides to stop and rest for a while. Upon reaching a nearby hotel, Driver approaches the receptionist and provides his credit card for payment. Despite this, the receptionist notes that Driver's identity remains a mystery and comments on his unusual name. Later, while watching television in their hotel room, the couple sees a news report about the missing girl, Emma. We saw the earlier scene. The report mentions that detectives have discovered the tree that Emma marked with Emma alive 6 months prior. During this scene, it becomes apparent that Betty has a scar on her stomach, for which Driver apologizes to her. Meanwhile, on the other side of the story, a gang of robbers led by Hogue is in the process of robbing a house. The gang includes Hogue's brother, Ethan, his girlfriend Tamara, Denny, and Flynn, who is mostly useless but remains in the group because he is dating Hogue's daughter. Unexpectedly, the occupants of the house return while the gang is in the midst of the robbery. The wealthy family returns home to their large mansion, but are quickly met with horror as they encounter the gang of robbers. As the father of the family attempts to call for help, Flynn opens fire and brutally murders the entire family. Hogue becomes enraged at the senseless slaughter and yells at Flynn. The sound of the gunshots alerts the police, and the gang must flee the scene. Returning to Betty and Driver, he asks her about dinner while she is lying in bed. Betty becomes annoyed and suggests that Driver should ask his other girlfriend about it, whatever that may mean. The couple then goes out for dinner at a nice restaurant opposite a gas station. Inside the restaurant, they are served by Hogue's daughter, Amber, who works there, and soon after Hogue and his gang, hungry for a bite, come into the same restaurant. As Betty sits with her boyfriend, Flynn, the most useless gang member, decides to make a move and approaches their table. The couple initially ignores him but eventually tells him to leave. Flynn's ego is bruised, and he begins to harass Betty. The situation escalates into a potential physical fight, but before Driver can act, Hogue and his crew arrive and force Flynn to leave. Hogue apologizes to the couple and reminds Flynn not to cause trouble where he works. Unfortunately, the couple's nightmare isn't over yet. On their way home, Flynn smashes the driver's window, causing a car crash. Assuming that the couple is wealthy and carrying valuable items, Flynn steals their car and takes it back to his place. He plans to extract Driver's bank code and other valuable things, and tries to involve Hogue and his brother Ethan in his scheme. However, Hogue gets angry and warns Flynn that any more wrong moves will be his last. Driver and Betty slowly regain consciousness only to realize they're restrained to chairs at a gas station. Ethan soon arrives, holding a dagger to Betty's throat, threatening to kill her. However, it becomes clear that Betty has grown tired of living with Driver as she intentionally moves her neck towards the blade, declaring she'll see him in the afterlife. This pushes Driver over the edge, and he breaks free from his restraints to attack Ethan with his handcuffs. Unfortunately, Driver is too late to save Betty, who is already dead. Meanwhile, Flynn rummages through the driver's car and finds nothing of value, just a wallet and some unremarkable documents. However, when he opens the trunk, he is taken aback by the sight of 2 holes in the wall and a pair of eyes peering back at him. He soon discovers a girl hidden behind the wall in the trunk of the car. Flynn and Tamara struggle to extract her from the vehicle and bring her into the house, while the rest of the gang watches from inside. As Flynn and Tamara bring the girl into the house, the commotion catches the attention of Hogue and the rest, who make their way downstairs. The girl starts yelling at them, urging them to run away from the danger she believes Driver poses. She hints that he is a brutal person, and warns that he will come to murder them all. Amber arrives and reports that Ethan cannot be reached, leading the girl to believe that he is already dead. Denny and Tamara are sent by Hogue to the gas station to check on Ethan. Upon arriving, they are met with a gruesome scene that they were not prepared for. Horrified, they see Ethan's lifeless and bloodied body on the ground, along with Betty's corpse, but there is no sign of the driver. The two then proceed to load Ethan's body into the van and bring it back to their hideout, as instructed. Amber hands the girl a set of clothes to change into, and as she does, Amber notices scars on the girl's body, similar to the ones on Betty. This confirms that Betty was the latest victim of the driver. Suddenly, Amber recognizes the girl from a TV program, and it's revealed that she is Emma Ward, the same girl who appeared at the beginning of the film. After 14 of her friends were murdered at a party, the wealthy heiress Emma Ward disappeared, and it is later revealed that Driver is responsible for the massacre. The most significant piece of information, however, is that the Ward family is offering a $2 million reward for any information that leads to the recovery of their daughter. Denny and Tamara arrive shortly after with somber expressions on their faces and deliver the tragic news of Ethan's death. Watching his brother dead, Hoag gets mad and decides to find Driver at any cost. After Flynn and Denny move Ethan's dead body to a shed, the dead body suddenly awakes, but much of a surprise to us when Driver unexpectedly appears from inside his body. While attempting to escape, Emma confronts the gang members and fights back, but is halted by Hoag. While this is happening, Emma becomes aware of the driver's presence outside, covered in blood. She then informs Hoag that she intends to wait for the driver to eliminate all of them. Following his shower, Driver heads to his truck to change a tire and prepare his numerous weapons. As Hoag and his group emerge outside to search for Driver, a steel arrow abruptly strikes Hoag, piercing his chest. In addition, Danny falls victim to the traps that Driver had set beforehand. Despite Flynn and Tamara's attempts to fire haphazardly, they are ultimately compelled to retreat due to Driver's clever traps. Denny becomes increasingly distressed as he bleeds profusely and their commander is already gone. Tamara and Flynn engage in a heated dispute regarding the urgency of getting Denny to a hospital. However, their argument is cut short when the driver detonates their van, forcing them to face him in combat with no other alternatives available. Despite successfully apprehending Hoag, Driver's desire for retribution remained unquenched. With a cold and calculated demeanor, he subjected Hoag to a brutal torture, feeding him into the unforgiving teeth of a meat grinder. In excruciating agony, Hoag writhed helplessly as the driver informed him that he was not a serial killer, but a psychopath who derived pleasure from killing in groups. Ultimately, with one final, gruesome push, Driver forced Hoag into the grinding mechanism, reducing his body to fragments and terminating his anguish permanently. Upon returning to the house, Amber inquires of Emma as to why she is the sole survivor, to which Emma responds that the driver may have developed feelings for her. In the flashback, the driver secures a room for himself and keeps Emma there until his own survival is ensured, as only he possessed the means to release her. Subsequently, he educates Emma on how to revive him before deliberately slicing an artery in his neck. It is later disclosed that Emma was responsible for saving his life. After the van explosion and Hoag's demise, a brawl ensues between Amber and Tamara. However, before matters can escalate, someone knocks on the door, compelling the group to investigate. Upon peeking through the door, they discover a bag suspended outside. Flynn inspects the bag more closely, noticing Hoag's ring attached to it. Enraged, Flynn kicks the bag, causing fragments of Hoag's flesh to spill onto the ground, which horrifies the group. Subsequently, Danny and Amber devise a plan to escape by utilizing a broken Jeep stored in their garage. After successfully gaining access to the garage, they encounter issues with the Jeep's functionality, causing Denny to exit the vehicle and make repairs. However, as Denny concludes the repairs, Driver abruptly appears and viciously assaults him. Terrified by the spectacle, Amber flees into the forest. The deranged killer pursues her and impales her with a sizable blade, eliciting cries for help from Amber that Flynn and Tamara are unable to assist with. Instead, they opt to escape from their nightmare situation. Upon witnessing Denny's death in the garage, Tamara breaks down in tears, and the group resolves to transport his incapacitated body with them. While operating the Jeep, Flynn unintentionally strikes Amber, who unexpectedly emerges, resulting in her death. Subsequently, the group delivers Denny to the hospital's entrance and resumes their attempt to evade Driver. As night falls, they choose to take a break and eventually arrive at the Highway Motel, where their ordeal had commenced. Upon presenting Driver's credit card to pay for the motel room, Flynn's actions raise the suspicions of the receptionist. Consequently, the receptionist contacts the local sheriff's department, informing them of the unusual and potentially unlawful situation. Afterward, Tamara is taking a shower when Flynn begins to harass Emma. However, Emma thinks on her feet and manages to deflect his advances, hastily making her way to the bathroom. Despite her fear that Flynn won't spare her life, Tamara intervenes by giving Emma her firearm, providing her with the opportunity to defend herself. Flynn is escorting Emma out when the sheriff finally arrives at the motel, asking Flynn to verify his identification. Without hesitation, Flynn violently strikes and kills the sheriff. While this is happening, Driver unexpectedly appears in the bathroom and swiftly kills Tamara. After learning about her death in the bathroom, Emma escapes, while Flynn chases her back, right when Driver's car slams into him, sending him flying. Watching the driver, Emma begins to shoot him, but before she can kill him, she realizes she's out of bullets. Emma's heart pounded as she is left with no other option but to run for her life. But soon, Driver came charging after her. The psychopath begs her to accept him, but Emma's survival instinct kicks in, and she attacks him with a metal pipe. Flynn shows up with a shotgun and shoots at them, but the driver pushes her away and takes the bullet. After surviving a shot to the chest, thanks to his Kevlar vest, Driver and Flynn engage in a fierce hand-to-hand fight, both unwilling to back down. As Flynn prepares to shoot Driver, Emma intervenes and knocks him out, taking the shotgun for herself. She insists that she should be the one to kill Driver. Despite Emma's desperate attempt, she fails to kill Driver with the shotgun due to her forgetting to load it properly. Driver is impressed by her courage and approaches her, telling her she is free now. He then retrieves a knife and uses it to remove a tracker from Emma's stomach that had been used to monitor her movements throughout the film. Emma lies on the road, defenseless, as Driver retrieves the gun and proceeds to ruthlessly eliminate Flynn. Unfortunately, the receptionist witnesses the scene and Driver is forced to kill him as well to eliminate any witnesses. The next day, Driver heads to his ultimate destination, the hospital where Denny is receiving medical attention. With a whisper of no one lives, he brutally kills the final member of Hoag's crew, who is lying in his hospital bed, using a clipboard as his weapon. Simultaneously, a news reporter announces that Emma had been abducted by Hoag's gang throughout her ordeal. As the driver observes Emma being transported on a stretcher to the hospital, he approaches her and touches her hand before departing, concluding the movie. Please hit the like button if you like this video and click the subscribe button to get updated on our next movie recap. Thank you for watching.